Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss a video from us.
Hi everyone. Today we have with us Mr. Akash Asthana, a seasoned risk professional with experience in developing and validating advanced credit risk models, including machine learning. He has extensive experience of over 11 years working in esteemed organizations like American Express, Barclays, and is presently working as a vice president at BlackRock. We welcome you to the expert interview series, sir, and we hope that we'll have good time together.
Yeah, looking forward to the same. Thank you. It's exciting, right? The outright word is exciting. It's been a long journey over 11 years now. I have worked for multiple organizations in different roles. Uh, and yeah, it's been fulfilling. So when I look back how I started and how I got into what I'm doing right now, um, it's been a fulfilling journey, right? So I started with a very humble company with a profile in TCS, right? So really, that my start I got there was really good. I got to know about the corporate world, the professional things, and all those things. It really helped me shape my career going forward. I could think forward next few years what I want to do, how I want to do, right? And then I moved along into different companies, different type of work, mostly focused on analytics, right? And then into banking and finance, particularly. And last many years, it's been into risk management. So very exciting things that I've done so far. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to have a similar journey. So, ideal day, uh, we work as risk managers, right? So, our primary job is to mitigate risk. So, I've been working into second line of defense for quite some time now. So, if you understand that, so there are the first line of defense, the people who create the strategies, who create the financial models, right? Financial models for anything, right? For let's say some product or some services, whatever, right? And we are the second line of defense, which are the independent reviewers of those strategies and models, and just to make sure that everything is fine. So, in a typical day, we work across those challenging strategies that we see. We review them from the risk perspective, whether they are what kind of risk they can potentially possess to the organization. Then we also have some regulatory norms that we need to adhere to, and all those things that we do, right? And also part of the job, you have to collaborate with many teams, right? The first line, the governance, and all those other teams. So the collaboration is the key. You try to collaborate with many people on day-to-day basis and try to understand what's going on, right? So that's how things look, right? And at the same time, you also work very closely with the people, your own team members, right, and your colleagues, immediate colleagues. Yeah, very important to maintain a very good working relationship with everybody around, right? So
Okay, sir.
that's how my typical day looks like. Uh, Trying to solve problems, but also stay connected to the people, immediate people. Right. So very good question. So I met folks who were very interested in risk management. So I had few sessions, I had few interactions with college students. So some of them were very interested in risk management, especially building models or which is the first line. Then we have um, uh, the validation work or the governance work, right, which I more closely associate with. So many things one can do, many areas one can begin with. So there are a lot of resources available online just to understand how things work. And and in terms of skill, I'll come to skills later, right? And then there are certifications like FRM. You people are aware of that who are more closer to risk management or the practices. So one can pursue that. That makes you a certified risk manager. So that already gives you that if you're starting up, especially, then it gives you those credentials that you need. that okay, you have the skills to begin with or dive into the professional risk management things and all those things, right? Uh, then in terms of skills, uh, that's a kind of open-ended question. What skills one needs? So technical, I always vouch for technical things. Always stay connected to the technical thing, whether any programming language or analytics language, whether it's Python or whatever. Try to stay connected with that. Where the bottom line is that even in risk management, like many other areas, one has to have a very analytically sound mind, right? You need to have that critical thinking going. If you have that element of critical thinking, so even if somebody is not from, let's say, a traditional risk management background, but they want to move into that, so this will help always, right? So
Okay, sir.
those are the few things one can delve into. Then there are probably some other ways, but I think these are the good starting point. Uh, the growth is immense. It's huge. So if you look uh, just the risk management area, so that's for the banks specifically, that's specified by the regulators that they need to have a risk management vertical within their overall structure, right? So that stays, right. So in terms of the vertical and the area, it's always there in financial organization, right? It's they can't just do away with that. So that is there. And the growth opportunities are, as I said, there are huge opportunities. You can see, and you'll probably meet people in day-to-day life who are doing very well in this field, right? So somebody who wants to plan career, specifically in risk management. So obviously starting from the points I mentioned earlier, the good starting point if you are new to this field, you want to start. So once you start, there's no limit to the opportunity, right? So the financial and you can relate to it. India as a country is growing uh, very rapidly in terms of finance, right? New instruments coming in, new ways of uh, 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 crypto. I won't talk about crypto much, but uh, new ways of doing the financial things are coming up, right? E-rupee is coming up. Now banks are always challenging themselves. The financial companies are always challenging themselves to get more customers, to launch very innovative product, right? For example, buy now, pay later. We all are aware, right? We're very, very convenient to everybody. So there's always big innovations going on in the financial industry, right? So, and as they grow, uh, the risk also grows. And when the risk grows, there is a greater need of good risk managers. So there's always that opportunity, like most of the niche roles within any organization. So there may not be many people working. Let's say there may not be thousands of roles in risk management at a given time, right? But there are always some open opportunities for good people, people who can manage risk effectively, who are good in dealing with these things, right? And I mentioned earlier, who are analytically very strong. So there's always need of those people. So, so if somebody is willing to plan career in risk management, so I'll say it's a big yes, that there are huge growth opportunities to look at. See, the typical challenges are same for any kind of job if you pick, right? So, upskilling yourself, bringing your skills to the level that are required. So that's a valid even for risk management. So if you think, okay, you are very well placed, you have spent 10, 15 years in certain area, and your job is secured, that's not the case. If you're outdated, so you'll be shown the door, right? So the challenges are always there. So and the definition of challenge will vary from at what stage you are in. So challenges for somebody who is just beginning his career into risk management will be very different for somebody who has spent, let's say, 5, 8 years, right? Or the challenges will be very different for somebody who has spent quite a bit of time in, let's say, some other area, but is now planning to move into risk management, right? So moving out of the comfort zone. So I would say it's my general advice. Don't worry too much about the challenges. Right? If you focus on the key things, as I mentioned, if you focus on key skills, uh, and you have a very clear vision why you want to do this, right? Then you're more likely to succeed despite of the challenges. Mm, Tools, see, again, a general advice, tools and technology, these are secondary things. First, one should focus on the areas I've talked about. In terms of tool, one thing I always advise to the people or young people who are just planning to start their career in risk management or anywhere, right, is to stay hands-on with some programming language. It could be very basic programming language, C, C++, I don't know, but those are not extremely not that much used in our area. But yes, any programming language you should be hands-on with at least one of those, right? In analytics, mostly these days, it's mostly about Python or R, right? So you can see a lot of growth, upward growth in Python going around, right? A lot of companies are building a lot of innovative stuff. Then we also keep hearing about natural language processing and all those things, right? So stay technical, stay hands-on with some programming language. You don't have to be a geek, right? But you should be aware about handling data in uh, to at least some minimal expectations. So that's the one thing that one should be aware of. Then there are other tools, visualization tool, depending upon what kind of role you're picking. So you might be required to, let's say, produce visualizations for your clients, right? The Power BI is a good tool. Then there are other tools as well for that. Excel, yes. Excel, I don't usually mention because I take it by default that Excel people should be aware of. At least by now, they should realize the potential of Excel. The more you grow, the more you'll be reliant upon how well you present and how simply you present your ideas. So Excel,
Right,
yes.
sir.
PowerPoint, very underrated tool. People think, okay, it's just a presentation, who cares? But your boss will care, right? Your boss's boss will care mostly about how good you can present. Doesn't matter how good analysis you can do, how strong you are in analytics, but if you cannot present it in a very simple and effective manner, it will not matter, right? So
Right,
these are
sir.
some of the tools. Then there are other tools people can pick depending upon what area they want to embark upon. Different areas will have different relevant tools. So this is a long debate, but I'll keep it simple. I'll stick to what I have been focusing on, right? At least one programming language, Excel, PowerPoint, and probably if required some visualization tool. Uh, Top five. So technical I've mentioned, right? So you should be technically sound, and technically and analytically sound. I'll merge them into one, right? Uh, Good communication skills, very important. I know at least now people are realizing the importance of communication skills, but maybe a decade back, not many people used to weigh in that much on this. At least the area that I saw when I was starting up. Very important, whether you are communicating with internal stakeholders or with clients. People try to think, okay, if I'm working with external client, I need to be very proficient and have a very effective communication. Yes, but then at the same time, if you have those skills while communicating with your internal stakeholders, it really makes a difference. So effective communication is very important, right? And it's different from just fluent plain English, right? People tend to see them as same. It's not. Effective communication, just how easily you can communicate your ideas to the audience. That's all, right? So that's one thing. Tools we have talked about, analytical thinking we have talked about, right? Uh, for any field, how quickly you can grab the larger picture. So I've seen people, especially people when they start the journey, they are given a piece of work by the management. They tend to focus on that for a few years. They just work on those things. What is given to you, you work on that. Try to focus on the larger picture, right? I missed this in my earlier days. I never did that. I was only focused on my piece of work. I get the salary on time. That's all. So this restricts your growth. if you try to understand the larger picture where you fit in, try to understand the entire area of work that you are into, right? So you are just piece of puzzle in the larger landscape. If you get hold of that, it opens many doors of growth, right? Other doors of growth. That's one more that I can think of, right? And what other skills that you can have, right? Uh, these usually work, right? Professionalism, I take it for granted that people are professionals, but it's really important. It is noted wherever you work. It doesn't matter how good you are technically, how good you of a business person you are. If you're not professional, it is always noted. Somebody will note it, and it will not do any good to you. So try to be professional as much as possible, at least in within the office or between the colleagues. Really helps. So if you can see, most of them are soft skills, right? Uh,
Right, sir.
so they really make a difference, especially when you look at your career, long career, if you're planning to work for longer horizon, 10, 20, 30 years. So soft skills are the skills that will take you far. Hard skill definitely, they help you, but the weightage change very quickly when you move forward, right? So I
Right,
think
sir.
that's those are the some of the skills I can think of. Okay, so I think we have talked about this throughout our
Right,
conversation that uh, in terms of advice, have a clear vision to start with why you want to work into risk management. So I was, let's say, I got it while I was working. So I was working into some different area, then I got into model development, then I got into risk management, right? So that's one way of getting into it, where you don't think much. You see, okay, this is a good opportunity, I can take it. But if you're starting your career, so try to think through why this. Do you want to make any difference? Probably you want to understand the financial industry in a different way, right? So there are two sides of a coin. One is understanding the product, right? Understanding the market. Other thing is understanding the risk side of it, right? So
right,
that's where we come in. So that's one way to look at it. Uh, so try to understand why you want to get into this field, right? Now, if you do want to get into this field, so as I mentioned earlier, don't worry too much about challenges or pushbacks. They are associated with any kind of work you pick. There'll always be challenges. Uh, Try to do justice to your job, whatever you're doing. Try to learn from people, not just who are your seniors, but also your juniors, your peers. You can gain knowledge from anywhere. Try to stay humble, right? And have a good overall connect with the teams around you, right? So these are general advice, not very specific to risk management, because I've already talked about the tools you need, the skills
right,
you
sir.
need. I don't want to reiterate, but just a general advice beginning into any field. Just have a clear mindset why you want to do certain thing. Once you are satisfied with that, then probably you can move forward. I haven't really thought about it, any quotation, but what I'll say, just be honest and be humble. That's all.
Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss a video from us.